Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So today we're going to read the last few slokas in the chapter 2 of Canto 9, and then we'll be reading text 1 to 9 before we get to our purport. So I'll just do the English translations. It says here, Maruta's son was Dama. Dama's son was Rajavardhana. Rajavardhana's son was Sudriti, and his son was Nara. Text 30, the son of Nara was Kevala, and his son was Tunduman, whose son was Vegavan. Vegavan's son was Buddha, and Buddha's son was Truna Bindu, who became the king of this earth. The best of the Apsaras, the highly qualified girls named Alambusa, accepted the similarly qualified Trina Bindu as her husband. She gave birth to a few sons and a daughter known as Ilavila. Text 32. After the great saint Visrava, the master of mystic yoga, received absolute knowledge from his father, he begot in the womb of Ilavila the greatly celebrated son known as Kuvera, the giver of money. Trina Bindu had 3 sons named Visala, Sunyabandhu, and Dhumraketu. Among these 3, Visala created the dynasty and constructed a palace called Vaisali. 34. The son of Visala was known as Himachandra. His son was Dhumraksha, and his son was Samyama, whose son was Devaj and Krusasva. The son of Krusasva was Somadatta, who performed Aswamedha sacrifices and thus satisfied the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu. By worshipping the Supreme Lord, he achieved the most exalted post, a residence on the planet to which great mystic yogis are elevated. The son of Somadatta was Sumati, whose son was Janmejaya. All these kings appearing in the dynasty of Visala, properly maintained the celebrated position of King Dinabindu. Then we go on to chapter 3. Sri Sukadeva Goswami continued, O King Saryati, another son of Manu, was a ruler completely aware of Vedic knowledge. He gave instructions about the functions for the second day of the yajna to be performed by descendants of Angira. Saryati was a beautiful lotus-eyed daughter Saryati had a beautiful lotus-eyed daughter named Sukanya, with whom he went to the forest to see the ashram of Chyavan Muni. While that Sukanya, surrounded by her friends, was collecting various types of fruits from the trees in the forest, she saw within the hole of an earthworm 2 things glowing like luminaries. As if induced by providence, the girl ignorantly pierced those 2 glowworms with the thorn, and when they were pierced, blood began to ooze out of them. Thereupon, all the soldiers of Saryati were immediately obstructed from passing urine and stool. Upon perceiving this, Saryati spoke to his associate in surprise. How strange it is that one of us has attempted to do something wrong to Chyavan Muni, the son of Bhrigu. It certainly appears that someone among us has polluted this ashram. Being very much afraid, the girl Sukanya said to her father, I have done something wrong, for I have ignorantly pierced these 2 luminous substances with a thorn. After hearing this statement by his daughter, King Saryati was very much afraid. In various ways he tried to appease Chyavan Muni, for it was he who sat within the hall of the earthworm. Text 9, we will all repeat, please. Tad abhiprayam agyaya prada duhitaram mune kruchan muktastam amantriya puram praya samahitam tat of Chavyana Muni. Abhiprayam, the purpose. Agyaya, understanding. Pradat, delivered. Duhitaram, his daughter. Mune, unto Chyavan Muni. Kruchrat, with great difficulty. Mukta, released. Tam, the Muni. Amantriya, taking permission. Puram, to his own place. Prayat, went away. Samahitam, being very contemplative. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki. King Saryati, being very contemplative and thus understanding Chyavan Muni's purpose, gave his daughter in charity to the sage. Thus released from danger with great difficulty, he took permission from Chyavan Muni and returned home. Purport. The king, after hearing the statement of his daughter, certainly told the great sage Chyavan Muni everything about how his daughter had ignorantly committed such an offense. The Muni, however, inquired from the king whether the daughter was married. In this way, the king, understanding the purpose of the great sage Chyavan Muni, tad abhiprayam agyaya, immediately gave the Muni his daughter in charity and escaped the danger of being cursed. Thus, with the permission of the great sage, the king returned home. Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti-Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Praschata Desatarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Everyone, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Everyone can repeat. King Saryati, being very contemplative and thus understanding Chyavan Muni's purpose, gave his daughter in charity to the sage. Thus released from the danger with great difficulty, he took permission from Chyavan Muni and returned home. So some of the words that struck me as I was reading this sloka last night was abhiprayam, the purpose. We all have a purpose in life. We all have a purpose on daily basis. And the other one was kruchat, with great difficulty. Right? We have so many purposes, and others we have so many goals. Some of them are more challenging and others are less challenging. But at the end of the day, there is some challenge involved in achieving whatever. And once you achieve that challenge, then you become relieved. Oh, this mission was accomplished. The eco farm started, or the Goshala was taken care of, like this. So there's so many challenges on daily basis, And then when you finish one, then you go to samahitam. Then you start contemplating what about the next project, what about the next thing, In this particular episode here, we see it's kind of a power game. The king is doing his thing and the Muni is doing his thing. The Muni is performing tapasya for countless number of years that he's literally living in a sand dune around him that is like a cave of a earthworm, and then because of the power of his tapasya, the two eyes are piercing through the sand dunes so that it appears that there's two lights glowing from a little mound, right? So that is the power of a Muni, and just imagine how many years he must have been doing that for, and how challenging that must have been. Because we know if we had to sit in a Bhagavatam class every day for 3 hours, it would be quite challenging, right?
Even 20 minutes.
20 minutes, he says. So there you are, the president saying 20 minutes, right? So, considering that, this must have been somewhat tapasya, and this tapasya gave him so much power. At the end of the day, he was acquiring power that in further Leela, when he is giving Somaras, to the king is giving, and it's like whole Leela is going on, and Indra is getting upset that this Somaras is not meant to be for the earthly planets, denizens. So he is using his thunderbolt. He wants to kill Chavan Muni. And Chavan Muni, just by his mantra power, he holds that Indra can't even throw the thunderbolt, That is the power of this tapasya. So in other words, whatever his goal was, he was trying to achieve the power so that he can be one of the most powerful persons. On the other hand, the king was already a king. He has become a king through his dynasty, through his parampara, whatever. And he also has powers, and he is also performing yagyas. That's what he said. He was performing yagya and decided to come and take blessings from Chavan Muni. Little did he know that there was going to be, a situation arising whereby he was likely to be heavily cursed, so much so that his whole dynasty, his kingdom and everything would be ruined simply because of one ignorant step taken by his daughter, who was a princess. Generally she was very intelligent, but see the situation that even if you are very advanced, even if you are very intelligent, just a moment of illusion can take you away to such deep, troubles, really. So power game is there in history. You see right from the beginning of the planetary system as it begins, there is so many power games. Just like Vishwamitra Muni, he was also a king. He was a king, right? He was a king, and he ended up at Vasishtha Muni's ashram, and he had thousands of soldiers with him. And Vasishtha, just by engaging his Surabhi cow, he was able to take care of all the soldiers, feed them, take care of them in every possible way. And then Vishwamitra thought, well, you're a sage, why do you need this cow? Just give it to me. I'm the king, I'll take it with me, right? He wanted to take the cow away with him so that everywhere he went, he would not have any problems, right? Just like we do the 84 course parikrama here, and every day at the end of the day, the devotees are having challenges to find where we're going to sleep, where's going to be the bathrooms, where's going to be the showers. Some are driving back, some are taking or performing austerities and staying in, difficult or austere situation. Then some are getting sick after 3 days, some are getting sick after 10 days, and they're coming back. So if they had some kind of facility that we had special trucks going and we had a special mobile homes and we could accommodate all of them, it would be so nice. So here similarly, Vishwamitra is thinking, I have thousands of soldiers and I have a challenge every day. So if I can take this cow away from Vasishtha, it'll be so nice. And he doesn't need it. He's a sage. He's just sitting here and doing his meditation. So he tries to take the cow away. And then, there's a war. There's a whole war. And this cow is producing soldiers now instead of food and the utilities that they wanted. And the soldiers that are coming out from the cows are killing all Vishwamitra's king's soldiers. So then he decides, no, now I will also perform meditation and I'll become powerful. Right? Again, it's a power game, I want to be the head of department for the bakery. I want to be the head of the department for Namhata. I want to be the head of department. I want to be the vice president. I want to be the president. I want to be the GBC. I want to be the GBC chairman, right? It's going on as you go on. So, but unfortunately, the power game is never diverted thinking that I want to be the best devotee. No? I want to be the most pleasing to Prabhupada. No? Because of that power thing that is mentally going on in our system, we only come to take darshan out of duty. You know? Are we coming to take darshan out of love or out of duty? Are we coming to perform our service out of love or out of duty? You know? That distinguishes where our devotional service lies, where we stand in our devotional service. You know? Right? So, and then Vishwamitra is doing his tapasya for thousands of years, and now Indra is getting worried. Another power game, right? Indra's got power thing. He's getting worried. What's going to happen to my kingdom if he performs so much tapasya that he can actually become more powerful than me? Then he sends one of his apasras and sikams, and just the sound of ankle bells. You know, see how strong the Maya is? This yogi or this Muni is performing tapasya for thousands of years, and a little sound of ankle bells, immediately he understands there is, Maya Devi here, and he falls. And then he ends up having a daughter. It takes him about a year before he realizes, I actually fell down. I failed. First I failed as a king, now I'm failing as a Muni who's trying to perform, tapasya so I can become powerful like our sister, and then I also failed that. Now I am a grihastha, and now I have to walk away from here. So then it looks like fail, 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 Why the fail, fail, fail system is there? Because he's following his mind. He wants to be powerful. He wants to be in a position, In that respect, when you look at Prabhupada, he was only focused that he wanted to give, the knowledge, the science of Krishna consciousness to the world, because that was an instructions from the spiritual master. He took that shelter of the spiritual master, he took the instruction of the spiritual master very seriously. Even when he became very powerful and he was building temples and distributing thousands of books, went to Russia and distributed over 1 million books in a week. He didn't say, I'm so powerful now, I'm so great. No, he said, continue, let's go, let's keep serving our spiritual masters. Let's continue serving our parampara. So the point we can learn from here is that a king, a Muni, whether there are many Munis or many kings, everyone who's struggling for power, everyone's trying to become very popular, they all have challenges and they all fall down, they all seem to be failing. Here in this case, the king failed because of his daughter. However, they were both were very intelligent, because as soon as they realized that there is a challenge here now, the king's realizing the Chavan Muni can actually curse me. He can curse my dynasty, he can curse my kingdom, then everything is going to be gone. So it's better I sacrifice my daughter. The daughter is also thinking that there is a possibility that Chavan Muni is going to curse me. And if I get cursed, I don't know how many lifetimes or how many years I'm going to have to suffer. So it's better I just serve him. So she did not rebel with the father that how can you give me away to a person who is, old enough to be great grandfather to me. He's so ugly. She didn't think like that. She just said, okay, I made a mistake, I have to repent. I have to atone for it. This way, at least, I will not get cursed, and my father's kingdom will also be saved. It's a big step realization. Although she made a very terrible mistake, immediately that mistake was corrected. So in devotional life, we can learn that it is natural that we commit so many mistakes from time to time, but we should not repeat the mistakes. And every time we do something wrong, we should immediately correct ourselves. Like the quote that Prabhuji read after Mangalarti this morning, it was saying that even if our enemy comes to our house, we should treat them so nicely that they forget that they are our enemy, right? They should become like friends to us. So when we do something that is wrong, we should work on it immediately, promptly, The tendency is that if I do something wrong, we do something wrong, we think who we can point the finger to so that we are not highlighted, right? So we have to follow in the footsteps. We can't do everything that Chavan Muni did or the king did, We can't say, well, this guy was 100 and something years old and he got married to a 25-year-old girl, so all elderly people are eligible to do that. No. This is a special drama in the pastimes of great sages and great kings, If you want to do that, can you sit down for Bhagavatam class every day for 3 hours? And if it's no, then don't contemplate on it anymore, So, this was the step taken by the father and the daughter. And when they took this step, then Chavan Muni was appeased. He was satisfied. And because of his tapasya, he was in a position to call upon Ashwini Kumaras. Prabhupada calls the Ashwini Kumaras the physicians from the heavenly planets. So when the Ashwini Kumaras come, then he says, now I have taken to Grihastha ashram. So please bring my youthhood back for me. How many of you take Chavan Pras every day? Chavan Pras is after Chavan Muni. So people take Chavan Pras to remain healthy, right? Yeah, health comes first. If health is good, then everything else will follow. Right? So there is different kinds of health. One is physical health and the other one is mental health, and this both can be very nicely controlled if the spiritual health is good. You all understand spiritual health, our sadhana bhakti, our devotional service, our book distribution, everything has to be good. We have to be engaged nicely. So he called upon the Ashwini Kumaras, and Ashwini Kumaras came and they took him, they dipped him in a lake, and as soon as dipped him inside the lake and he came out, he became like a very handsome guy, very young, handsome person. And now Sukanya was confused because the Ashwini Kumaras also dipped into the lake, and instead of just Chavan Muni coming out as handsome guy, there are 3 handsome guys looking totally different from what they looked a few seconds before. So now she had to decide who is my husband, Wasn't easy for her. But Ashwini Kumaras were very merciful, so then she took shelter of them, and then they realized, they told her, this is your husband, now you serve him very nicely. Before he got his physical treatment and his blessings from the Ashwini Kumaras, as it appeared as an elderly person, he was very, very irritable. He was very disturbed because his tapasya and everything was broken, But the quality of Sukanya was that she remained humble and tolerant. As she continued serving him so nicely, then he felt that actually, yes, she's serving very nicely. So now I should also be responsible. So then he calls upon Ashwini Kumaras that please give me my youthhood back so that I can also be a good husband and perform. So the lesson for us to learn is that, like, if we are grihasthas in grihastha ashram, we also have challenges. But the mother or the wife has to be responsible in taking the role of the housewife, and it's equally important that the husband also plays a role. In the 7th canto, after we come to the end of the pastimes of Prahlad Maharaj, Yudhishthira Maharaj is having a dialogue with Narad Muni, and Narad Muni is explaining to him the Varnashram system, and in that he very clearly spells out that the husband has to be very, very responsible also. It's not that the wife only has to be responsible. And then he also spells out the wife also has to be responsible. They both have to complement each other and play the roles correctly. And if they do that, then there is a good chance for them to have a good married ashram or a grihastha ashram. If the grihastha ashram is steady and is good and is spiritually oriented, then the Lord will come and bless you. The Lord is very happy to bless us. In the Gita, Lord is saying that there's 4 kinds of people who come to me. But the best kind of people who come to 4 kinds of pious people. Sukritina, not duskritina. If you fall into the category of being one of the duskritinas, then you have no chance of getting blessings of the mercy. But if you fall into Sukrutino department, then that means you're endeavoring to approach the Lord. Either you're approaching the Lord for the money, you're approaching the Lord for better health, you're approaching the Lord for some power. But the devotee is only approaching to become the best of the best of the best devotees, so that he can serve all the devotees very nicely. He can serve the deities very nicely, And the Lord is very happy with that kind of, approach from the individual. So this is how we can actually look at this chapter here and say, okay, what can we learn? Coming to Bhagavatam class, I agree it should not be more than 20 minutes, because even professional analysis says that if you sit in any lectures where they are giving, some symposiums or some seminars, the speaker is advised to speak normally only for 7 minutes. Right? He is nodding, 7 minutes. And then he invites dialogue, he invites questions and answers or discussions, because in that period, everyone remains alert and awake, and they can come out with the best. But if you go beyond 20 minutes, 30 minutes, then what happens is all the people who are here to listen to the lecture, they are going in from active mode to passive mode, then ultimately to sleeping mode. Right? Then when you're in the sleeping mode and anyone has any questions, and then everyone's just dazing at you, that means you put them all in the sleeping mode. So let's get them out of the sleeping mode. And if you have any questions, I can answer some questions now. Otherwise, I have so much to say. It's true. See, whatever circumstances you are in, it's just like Mother Devaki. She was in prison for many years, but when she came out of the prison house, the guards were paying obeisances and begging forgiveness, that please, Mother Devaki, forgive us, we did our duty because we were forced to do the duties by Kamsa, right? But at the end of the day, Mother Devaki is saying, no problem, it was my karma, the time was not with me, it was not going with me. So therefore, you don't need to worry, you are doing your duties. You don't need to ask for forgiveness. So devotee is like that. Devotee is always giving and forgiving. A devotee is not, it doesn't take grievance. Oh, you did this to me, you stepped on my toe, so now I'll kill you, something like that. It's always, that should not be there. That is our testing grounds as to where we stand in our spiritual life, Yes, sir.
Yes. We understand, just like when we are devotees and we are married, and our life should be go peacefully. Person and the husband and wife, they cannot go together when they want to be suffering, they want to divorce, just like as a families. So when these things happen to the devotees' life, why don't we forgive each another and continue their life?
You have come to Tapabhumi. This planet is known as the planet of tapasya. So here tapasya is very much required, and so Krishna is very kind. He gives us all these troubles, whether you're in Grihastha ashram, Brahmachari ashram, Sannyasi ashram, there's always challenges. And he gives us these challenges so that we can come out of the attachment that we have to our spouses, our children, so that we can get connected to Krishna properly. Just like the Pandavas, Yudhishthira Maharaj, it was a deceit. The way he lost his kingdom and had to go to forest was not on fair grounds. But he did not fight, he did not scream, he just took it as Krishna's mercy. When the 5 grandchildren were killed, they didn't go running to Krishna and started getting on his case. Or when Parikshit Maharaj was about to take birth, and Krishna comes and saves Parikshit Maharaj, it goes out of his way to perform that Leela. They didn't ask, why you saved Parikshit? Why didn't you save our 5 children? They accepted the decisions taken by Krishna. That Krishna is the ultimate controller. He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Everything he does is for our benefit. So that way, if you are in a Grihastha ashram, we can contemplate, why Krishna you gave me a hard time? But why don't we think, well, Krishna, thank you for giving me a hard time, now I'll correct myself, and I'll focus my consciousness onto your lotus feet. Yes, sir. Yeah.
So we're talking about Vedic culture this morning that, some guest may come, he may not be your friend, but your good warm-heartedness, he forgets to be your enemy. So here it appears that the king gave his daughter in charity kind of remedy the situation was getting difficult. So maybe previously the culture, Varnashram culture, was such that the father's responsibility was actually to marry off the daughter.
Daughters, yeah.
Nice family. They get a lot of anxiety thinking about finding somebody compatible, the same, this, that. But how effective is Varnashram in this stage? I mean, it seems like you would force somebody out of free will. Today's society, people want to have the freedom to choose. And if choices are made for you, you may be a little rebellious by that.
Right.
So it seems that, of course, his daughter accepted it. Maybe that was the culture, but what about today's society? Is this Varnashram applicable? That the father wants to see the best for the children, obviously. What's your...
Very nice question. Is this applicable? Is the father allowed to give the daughter away in charity in this day and age and follow these rules and regulations?
Check the dowry.
Right, we check the dowry also. So there is many combination and permutations in this day and age in everything that people do. And unfortunately, there is no real spiritual education system. Now, if there was some really good spiritual education system, and if all the boys were trained and they were brought up as good brahmacharis, and all the mothers were trained and brought up as devout mothers in the cultural system, it would work. It still works in some families, but very few. But masses of family doesn't, because we are in Kali Yuga and everyone is independent of each other. The parents want the children to leave home as soon as possible. If you can leave at 16 is better, then they don't have to wait till the 18. And if you can leave much earlier, then they don't really mind, because the parents themselves are struggling so much. So it's very small percentage of families who are in upper class, who have the financial resources. Those who are in moderate class, both the husband and the wife are working. And those who are in the lower class, they are struggling. They are working 18 hours, 16 hours just to make ends meet. So they have absolutely no time to educate their children, And therefore, you have this cultureless society. It's not cultured, It's like animalistic society. And therefore, it's not proper for us even to think that they will be able to follow the standards, However, we are very fortunate that Srila Prabhupada came and he saved so many of us. Although it may be a smaller percentage considered to the population, but he gave us the thing. And he gave us this culture, and we are trying. And we know even trying within the house of Srila Prabhupada, that we have difficulties. Because a lot of us have come at the age of 30, 40, 50. Very few are actually born into the movement. But the hope is there, because Prabhupada says with each generation, everything will improve. Things will become greater. And there's also time will come when the world will be ruled by devotees. At that stage, yes, maybe there will be possibility for a percentage of people being able to follow this. But in this present day and age, it would be unsound or improper to expect people to follow it. See, even Mother Sita was, taken away by Ravana. She was not blaming Ravana. She is just saying this is karma, this is time, place and circumstances.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for giving wonderful class. As we have heard through Srimad Bhagavatam, that mistakes can be sometimes better for your better consciousness. It's all about how you revive your consciousness in the case of Chavana Muni. And as I was reading in Srimad Bhagavatam, it's been said that all this tapasya, all this prapanch to elevate yourself in your sadhana bhakti is to give you better consciousness. And once you enter into Grihastha ashram, you start with the Grihamendi, then you go to Grihasthas, and then you become a Grihastha sannyasi. So every ashram is having its own benefits, but we have learned through this shloka today. So this is my understanding. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So it's true, if we make any offenses, we should immediately take care of that offense. Don't live with the offense. Even for like the pujaris, there is very hard and fast rules. If they are late by 30 seconds in their service, it's an offense. And therefore, they have to perform, they have to atone, they have to read a chapter of Bhagavad-Gita, or they should fast for a day, so it starts right at that level. So as we go to the other levels, whichever department we are in, what our service is, we should be very serious and conscious that if we commit any kind of crime or offense, we should immediately correct it. We should go out of our way to correct it. If we are not sure, there is always senior devotees. There's always, Prabhupada's instructions. You can Google and see in these circumstances what I should be doing. If you are in some kind of a solace place, But if you commit any mistakes, immediately correct them. Otherwise, it leads to a downfall. So very, very important to do that. Any other comments? Yes, Prabhu. Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah.
You were saying about the power game. Everybody's after power game, and you were mentioning how most of the leaders of our movement, like the GBCs or the temple presidents. But I was thinking there's a need of good leaders, management, because it's a thankless task. And
Always.
People who do it or take it, we really should appreciate them because it's not easy. So how would you, if nobody stands up for leadership or management, then how do you expect our organization to be, going on in a more...
I understand. Good question. Good. When I mentioned that, I was mentioning about individual minds, how the minds are also, in every position, every devotee is trying to endeavor to become something. There's nothing wrong with it as long as we stay within the disciplic principles that are given to us, It's very important that we maintain our sadhana bhakti. It's very important that we maintain our regulative principles. And then most of all, it's very important that we understand that we are here to serve. Dasa Dasano Dasa, we are here to serve Prabhupada's movement. And if you have that consciousness properly established in yourself, then it's perfect. Go ahead, become a president, become a GBC, become a department head, become a head of a farming community, whatever. Become a Sankirtan leader, But these things are very important, because if we don't, then what happens is that when we gain that power, then there is chances that we will fall down. So we don't want anyone to become a leader to fall down. We want people to become leader. In fact, everyone should become a leader. Why not? Everyone should become a leader, and they should help to lead the world. Right? So that was the point. Harish. Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Just now we are discussing, or even Prabhu, we are asking questions about the marriage and the responsibility of the husband, and that this Vrindavan is a
Tapabhumi, yes. Yeah.
But actually, even in South India, sometimes many temples we can see in the all the sculptures on the tower. Mm-hmm. It expresses what is the Lord doing all the activities like creation, maintenance, and destruction. Even the father and mother performing the creation activities is sculptured in the like this. Every activity, destruction, everything is there. That is the performing by the Lord. But in Vrindavan, tapas means cannot do like this. No creation, no destruction, no maintenance. It is tapas.
Interesting question. Can you do these things in Vrindavan that you do in the other parts of the world? Is that your point? Yeah. First of all, we should remember that if you are in Vrindavan, we are very fortunate, because without Radharani's mercy, you cannot come here. There are many people who struggle. Like as you travel, as I know as I travel, and I was in Europe recently, and then I was in America prior to that, and everyone is like so happy to see you because you're from Vrindavan, you know, and they're hankering to come here, but unfortunately they're tied up in their so-called social life that they have to pay this mortgage and that loan and everything every month. They must keep up, because they don't pay a mortgage for 1 month, then they have to restart the mortgage all over again, right? So they are handcuffed basically by Maya, you know. So that is why they become so excited when they see the Brajbasis or the devotees coming from Vrindavan. But we have to keep in mind, we are here by the mercy of Radharani. If we can understand that, then we will not contemplate on doing everything else that's happening on the world outside, you know. And also in our marriage life and marriage system also, we'll be extra careful, you know. You can leave. Prabhupada just asks the questions, do I have to stop my work if I join your movement? Prabhupada says, no, continue working, but divert all your money, funds, and towards Krishna consciousness. Says, do I have to give up Grihastha life? No, you can have children also. Engage them in spiritual life. No? So if you want to be a Grihastha in Vrindavan, Krishna is not saying you can't be a Grihastha. Nanda Baba was a Grihastha, right? So many examples are there. So many Sakhas and Sakhis, Gopis, they were all living in ashrams. But they were all very Krishna conscious. That's what matters. That everything that you do should be done with a proper understanding and proper reasoning and proper connection to the lotus feet of Radha Shyam Sundar. If that is failing, then it's not good, because everything you do here multiplies by 1,000, right? So if I punch you one time, it's like punching 1,000 times, but if I give you one rasgulla, it's like giving you 1,000 rasgullas, you know, as a metaphoric way. So everything we do, we should be trying to do so positively that we can get connected to Krishna eternally, not just for a few moments, you know. It's just like people go to a funeral house or in the West, and they go to the funeral pyre here, and for a few moments, because they're seeing the body is being burnt, they become vairagis, you know. And Prabhupada calls them samsana vairagis, right? While they are in the funeral house, they want to renounce everything. This is what's going to happen to me also. But the minute they step away from there, they are back into the cycle of samsara, you know. So that is not good vairagya, you know. Vairagya means everything gets connected through Prabhupada and his mission to the lotus feet of the Lord. Then you're on the right path. Anyway, that's my understanding. Thank you all very much. Granth Raj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki.